Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel, Maths Made Easy with Terry in 10 minutes. All right, so today we're going to talk about absolute values with inequalities. I'm going to just do an introduction today. And after that, I'm going to then move on and just go straight to solve some examples on this. All right. Okay, quick one. Remember the modulus graph in the previous video. So if you've not watched the previous video, it's very important that you go back and have a look. So in the previous video, I showed you how a modulus graph looks like. Usually I told you it looks like this. Does that make sense? So it's always positive. Now, if you, let's pick for example, at y is equal to 2, for instance, okay, for a modulus graph. So let's just say y is equal to 2. That means it cuts the x-axis here at 2. Does that make sense? Now, what you will notice in most cases, for instance, if you draw this graph, using this graph as an example, you will notice that the x-axis is going to be at -2, and the positive axis is also going to be at +2. So that means the negative value is also going to be positive, and the positive value for x is going to also be positive as well. So that means from this now, we can now say that it intersects the graph as ± or -2. So it demonstrates that if y is less than 2, okay? So that means y is less than 2. So it's possible that y can have values less than 2. So if y is less than 2, so all the answers that we're looking out for will be in this region. Okay, for it to be less, for example, if it's -1, the answer is going to be here. If it's 0.5 here and here, so the answer is going to be within this region. So that means we can now say that that is the modulus of x. If it's less than 2, then the answer will be looking out to be greater than -2 and less than 2. So that means you see the answers, if it's less than, all the possible values is going to be within this region, less than 2. Now, but if y is greater than 2, it's going to be a little bit different. So if it's y is greater than 2, you will now notice as well that the answers greater than 2 means that the answers is going to be outside this region here. Okay, so that means if x is greater than 2, then y is either less than -2 or is greater than what? 2. So you will notice with this example now that there are 2 usually possible values or 2 regions for the solutions of y. So usually I can now say that generally the modulus of x less than a, for any value of a, where a is greater than 0, the answer we should be expecting should be less than a, x greater than a and less than what? A. And if is the other way around, and if it's the other way around, that is the modulus of x is greater than a, where a is greater than 0 as expected. So you see that it will be x will be less than -a, or x will be greater than what? A. Okay. So this is what we call the general formula or equations that you need to have in mind. All right. This is just an introduction. Okay. So let me just introduce one example. So let's assume we have y is equal to the modulus of x -1, for instance, and you were asked to ascertain from the graph the value of x -1 modulus less than 3, okay? And you're asked to find what will be the possible values for x -1 less than 3 and x -1 greater than 3, okay? Let me just use this example here. So the first thing first, I showed you in the previous video how to draw a graph, okay? So if x is -1, so that means it's going to be in the positive y-axis. So that means it's going to be here by 1 unit, okay? And because it's 3, so that means we can easily assume that the y value we're looking at is that y is equal to what? 3. Okay, so that means there should be a point of intersection here, and there should be x value, sorry, here. So we're going to be expecting 2x values for this. So the same thing, we know that for it to be less than, if you go back, I told you that less than, it is minus a x greater than a, okay? And if it's greater than, it is less than minus a greater than a. So, okay, so if you plot this graph, you will notice that here will be -2, and here as well is going to be, I think, around 4, okay? Now, be asking me, Terry, how did we get these values for this? Don't worry, in the next video, I'm going to show you how to do it, okay? But I'm not interested in how do you calculate it now. I'm just interested in showing you what is the general concept of inequalities, okay? I'm going to show you how to calculate it in the next video. But generally, you notice the answer will be -2 here and 4. So if it's less than, so remember less than, you will see for less than is minus, x is greater than the minus, but less than the plus. So you can now say it's going to be -2 less than x, greater than x, less than 4. Less than 4, okay? Now for the other one, for greater than, the same principle, we said that it's going to be less than -a or greater than a. So you're going to do the same thing. So you notice that the answer is going to be x is less than -2 and x is greater than 4. So if it's for the greater than, this should be the answer. If for the less than, this should be the answer. All right, and that'll be that for that. Now, in the next video now, I'm gonna go straight to solving. Okay, we're gonna start solving questions and plotting the graph at the same time. So we're gonna discuss when we have less than inequalities. We're gonna discuss that. When we have greater than inequalities, how do you solve that? And in some cases, when it's a little bit complex, how do you go about it? So we'll talk about 3 of them, or these 3 cases, okay? And that will get for that. All right. Like I said, if you have any question, feel free, let me know. Drop it in the chat, or you can just send me an email and I'll get back to you. All right. Thank you very much, and see you soon in the next video. All right.